Alright everyone, in today's video, I've seen a lot of y'all request that you want to see a solo GM clear using the melee Warlock, and in this one, that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be just having a commentary, talking about everything that I did to give you all a better idea on how you can do this for yourself, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. This video is going to talk about all of what I just said, but I'm also going to mention just how difficult slash annoying slash RNG fest it is to actually get a solo clear on something like a Lightning Surge Warlock right now. If you're playing a Consecration build or maybe just some other melee build that has just an insane amount of damage resist, which this one does, you are just going to randomly die sometimes. But as you see here, I'm going to be just doing the cheese spot for C just to not have to worry about this one. I do actually end up going to B to get some gameplay so y'all can see. And the gameplay, I mean, Lightning Surge absolutely destroys. It is very, very strong. You're very, very tanky. It's just with the new, altered enemies, I think they're called, are they boons? I'm not exactly sure the exact name of them. It makes doing something like a Lightning Surge or just like a pure melee build, not, again, something like Consecration where you can kind of sit back and do it, where you have to really get in there. It can be very hard because you have these altered enemies that slow you down. They basically have dust fields around them, which makes it almost impossible to get out once you've got in if you don't one-shot them. They have some, like, sort of explosive, volatile, void-esque thing. As you see here, I do get C done. I'm just going to start doing some damage on the boss here just to get him down here. But they have some, it's like some, like, void volatile thing. When you go up and melee them, basically they explode, kind of like a curse thrall, but it does so much more damage. Like, it pretty much one-shots you, so if you're just running around meleeing everywhere, not being aware of the stuff on the battlefield, you're just going to instantly die to that sometimes. If you get unlucky, that's kind of where the RNG fest comes in, where it's like, okay, well, this one just spawned here, so I guess I can't, if it just spawned where you're going for a melee already, you can't really do anything. And then there's also like the void drain, where if you get super close, it's going to start draining you down, and you just basically die. It's not a lot you can do because you can't play around it. Invisibility kind of can't help out, but those three are just very, very annoying. But as you see here, we are going to move up to B, and we're going to just start Lightning Surge and everything. I do kill some of the thrall off of it. Just make sure you're always keeping things off of the tower, I assume, just so you can constantly keep progressing. But I try to round a bunch of enemies up because, again, Lightning Surge is a huge AoE, as you see. I mean, it can just absolutely destroy me. Even these, like, orange bars, knights, and everything, it just murders them all. The main thing you want to do with this build is always make sure you have Transcendence energy. You want to have your Transcendence be able to use just all the time, because if you don't, it can get very, very dicey. As you see here in some of these clips, I gotta kind of build my Transcendence up. And when you take this into something like a GM, you kind of have to turn this sort of into a ranged build as well. As you see, I am taking advantage of Tadastra's and Quiet Run. I just have a ton of ammo. Also, it just is ranged options, because in some situations, kind of like I was saying earlier, you just literally cannot go for a melee. Honestly, I like the altered enemies, but it kind of does suck if you are playing a pure melee-based build, because it kind of just completely ruin a run. Now, if you're in a 3-player activity, it doesn't matter at all, because, if you randomly die to one curse thrall and you have 2 other people with you, they can just res you. But if you're going for a solo, it can be very annoying. As you see here, I go for A last because of the, the Death Tongue guy that spawns. I try to insta-kill him. Typically, I can kill him before the Shrieker spawns. I think of this run, I end up, it literally got it at last second. But I try to just constantly freeze, melee, apply bullet charge, all that sort. Unfortunately, again, they did get it off in the last second right there. But since I'm playing around invisibility, I can run, get out there, and just kill the Shrieker. Unfortunately, a Knight does come up on the left side of me right here. It doesn't do anything, thankfully, because I get out in time, but it does scare me a little bit, I will say. But if you haven't seen my build video of this build, definitely be sure to go check that out. As you're all, if you did see it, I recommend it highly, running Spirit of the Assassin to get the invisibility, and this is strictly why. In GMs, it is just so good. The amount of times, sorry, this is a live post commentary here, so I'm gonna be stuttering on some words a little bit, but the amount of times I survived just because of invisibility is actually insane. But as you see, the ogres have spawned. I kind of just play it slow up here on this this area in general, and just kind of wait for the ogres to come around. With the artifact perks, with bolt charge, everything, it makes it pretty easy. I do get stuck on the stairs here, but again, going for a finish here, I go invisible. Thankfully for that overshield, I don't die to the ogre melee here, but now it's done. I'm gonna try to just shoot it down, go for a finisher, go invisible again. You always want to be invisible. Always go for finishers, always go for melees, because it makes you very, very tanky, especially with all the, damage resist, but not really tanky. I guess just more survive. You just survive a lot more because, nothing will shoot you. But I try to use my super here. I just passively kind of do damage to this boss over and over again, because you do have to kill the boss. Even if you did get all 3 of the towers activated, you will still have to kill the boss. I don't stress about it too much. I think the ship can also shoot it a little bit too, so you don't have to worry about it. It's literally shooting it right there. It'll eventually kill it too. So again, just kind of keeping all the ads off of the tower. And right there, that's that void stuff I was talking about. I think, actually, no, that might have been a shield. That might have been a shield, but I'm pretty sure you will see that at some point. These just void altered enemies that just instantly kill you if you're beside them. It is very annoying. But again, just playing it super slow. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive here, you totally could. Unfortunately, I did get an altered enemy with a shield here, so they are a little bit more tanky. It makes it a little bit harder to do some things. This is going to just vary quite a lot. It normally can take you between 5 to 7 minutes to do this first part, assuming you get good enemy spawns. And again, that just kind of plays back into just... I don't want to say it's an RNG thing to be able to complete it or not, but out of my time of doing this, it honestly did feel like that, specifically with this build. If I put on a stasis turret build or just any other ranged warlock build, I honestly think I could get through this relatively quick. But just with the amount of just random things that can happen with all these altered enemies now for a lightning surge setup in a GM, it is very, very annoying. But again, if you're with 3 people, it's not that big of a deal because they can just res you if something like that does happen. But again, in solo, you go back to orbit if you die. But we're done with this first area here. I'll try to talk more about what is going on instead of just yapping about the altered enemies coming up here. But we come through this little area. I try to throw my stasis grenade to freeze everything here, and I just try to take out the chance slow. Again, this is kind of where it's coming in, where yes, this is a melee build, but you kind of have to play with some range here, because if I just run up and lightning surge these guys, there's a good chance I would you kill everything, but there's also a small chance that the Barrier Knight could just literally one-shot you with this weapon. So you kind of have to just play it super safe, and you have to use your lightning surges when you see no cursed all around, you see no altered enemies around. You could just straight up, okay, I'm gonna go kill this large group of ads, and that does happen quite a lot. So you can spam these all the time, but you do really have to be aware of your surroundings if you're trying to do a solo run with this lightning surge build. But as you see, we're gonna start our ghost progress here, and just kind of slowly killing enemies with our Choir 1. Choir 1 with the stabilizing rounds and all the artifact perks is just absolutely disgusting. And if I haven't mentioned, I'll go over the build at the end. I think I might have mentioned that. I don't know. Yeah, I'll go over everything at the end. But for now, again, we're just kind of sitting back, killing everything with Choir 1. As you see, another altered enemy there that is shooting the little fireballs out. Again, always try to go for invisibility. Unfortunately, right there, Lightning Surge got the kill, didn't get the invisibility. That happens sometimes. Sometimes you go for a finisher, you don't get the invisibility. Sometimes you get a melee kill, you don't get the invisibility. Sometimes you have Radiant, and the barrier won't come off if you're using something else. It's something else that doesn't have an artifact mod, like the Choir 1. It can be very gimmicky sometimes. But as you see, there's a lot of Cursed all around, but honestly, with the amount of damage resistance you have, the Cursed all aren't too scary. I'm going to try to prioritize the champion here. There's going to be an ogre coming up on the right. Make sure you stun that. I go for a super. The super into like a nade and a melee pretty much insta kills it right here, so that you don't have to really worry about it. Threat lanes are killing those other enemies. And I'm going to try to, again, take the Barrier Knight over here. This is why I'm running Tenacious. Typically, I would run my Area Denial Grenade Launcher, Lost Signal. But just being able to take these barriers out super consistent is just needed in a solo GM. If you're playing with other people, feel free to run Lost Signal. But again, just kind of running around, grouping enemies up, getting the Lightning Surge procs. As you see, I have no abilities here, and I'm also out of Transcendence, so I kind of have to run away here. This is what I'm talking about. If you don't have Transcendence built up, it makes it very difficult. But in this instance, if I had Lost Signal, I could get my Darkness back extremely quick. But here, I kind of have to play a little range, shoot some Tenacious to get some Darkness energy. Thankfully, the hack progress is still going on, so I'm still making progress there. But I do get my Transcendence. I'm gonna pop my super. There's one of the Lightning Chain enemies. Honestly, they're not that big of a deal when it comes to, I guess, just the melee build in general. They are annoying because you have to play around them, but they're not just gonna like instantly kill you like the other things I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But see a large group of enemies, I immediately get the melee kill, go for a finisher, just again to get that overshield. Constantly just keep meleeing over and over again with our Transcendence pop. I stun the ogre here, get a bolt charge off on him, and just start meleeing like crazy. It's just all the AoE damage, I just kill everything right there. I mean, that was a major and a champion. I'm just literally meleeing over and over again. which this build can totally do, even in a GM setting. It's just, you just gotta be on the lookout for everything else. You have to play hyper aware. But again, now I'm just gonna come over here, just kind of slowly keep killing stuff. We're at 72%, waiting for the big boss to spawn. Thankfully, my cold snap grenades freezing everything here. Things aren't progressing up too much. I do take a lot of damage there, but thankfully I do get a melee kill to proc Devour. And then I just see just a large group of enemies with that shatter damage. Just super, super nice. I do get my Transcendence here, and I'm going to kind of just play down here at the bottom. Get that 90% up to 100%. Because I see that boss coming. The Transcendence grenade is also just so good. Just grouping all the enemies together. I do, again, play it super safe here because I don't want to die. I see him at 97%. The Ogre almost kills me there. But thankfully, we'll get it here. Watch out for that little grenade, and we're done with this area. And the good thing about this Greymaster is basically the first 2 rooms, or the first 2 areas, are the hardest part. Like, once you get those down, literally, like, the rest is not even that bad. The boss is a little annoying. It can be a little tedious, which is probably why this video is 35 minutes long, but it's not as stressful as, like, the first part, because there's just so many ads, there's so many chances for the ultra enemies to spawn, and they can just ruin a run. But thankfully, if it does ruin a run, you can go right back in, and we're at 11 minutes in, and we're on to the next area. So here, again, dodge all the lasers. This part, I mean, this is basically just doing like a normal strike here. You're just doing what you would normally do, just hiding from the laser. I will say, there are some enemies up here, and if you get an alter enemy to spawn, one time I've had a drain one spawn here, so I jump down and I immediately start getting drained, and I have to wait for the threat detection to go away, so I just die. Like, there's literally not much you can do. Actually, I think I made it out, but like I made it out with like 1 health. Thankfully, no alter enemies. So, but imagine if that was like a slow or a drain right there. If you would have got caught by it, your run would have been over. It's just super annoying. But we're gonna do the little thing here to basically skip the other little part. Just jump up on the little pipe right here. You don't have to run through those other little area of ads. And we're gonna come up here, and then we'll head to the next area. This area right here is pretty easy. Honestly, I could have done this way cleaner. Typically, if you do have your Transcendence here, you could just melee everything and just kill everything super quick. I do mess up a little bit, but I mean, hey, we got to include the mess up runs as well. I kind of have to play it a little slow and eat some time up, but it's fine. But you see here, grenade going for the melee. Again, that's just the whole theme of this build. Just large group of enemies and go for the melee, insta kill everything, basically get the night one shot. I can go for the finisher now. With the overshield, go invisible now, make the special ammo. And we're up here at the next part. Again, gonna have to try to build some Transcendence energy here. And we're just gonna slowly keep killing some stuff. Kind of wait for some stuff to spawn. I already have max light, but I was just kind of spreading some destabilizing around. As you see, we do have Transcendence now. So right now, I basically could pop it, get a kill, and we could go super aggressive and just go melee those up there, the champions. But unfortunately, they kind of spread out a little bit, and I also just haven't popped Transcendence. Almost died there, but thankfully I do get the Devour proc. That was just bad gameplay. That was no RNG fest. That was just me playing this super poorly. But now we're going to come up and, again, try to take the Barrier Knights off. Unfortunately, they're kind of spread apart. They do come together now, so I get a nice Lightning Surge melee there to get a huge chunk of damage. And then I pretty much can insta-kill this one. This one does heal a little bit, unfortunately. Well, a little bit. It literally healed all the way. But I can go for the finish on this one. Again, this is something special. Give me invisible, all that nonsense. And now we can just focus on killing this one. But again, since there's no enemies around, I don't have Synthoceps proc, so it's going to be a little difficult to actually just do melee damage on him. So I just opt in to go for just shooting him here. And again, in a GM setting, you kind of have to go back and forth. Know when to shoot, know when to go for melees. Be on the lookout for all the alter enemies. It's a lot of work that goes into it. I would honestly recommend just play a stasis turret build if you're going for a solo or even an arc build maybe this season. Because having to just account for all these things that can happen, it is very, very tedious. But we're going to come up here. I go to the right here because you don't have to kill enemies. It's very, very easy to do this part if you go to the right. Basically, you just come up here, take the little elevator, grab the little ball, and before we jump down, I do end up killing all the enemies that are down there. It's honestly not that difficult to kill these enemies, especially if you're running quad roam with the stabilizing. As you see here, I throw a nade and an unravel melee just to do some extra AoE, but I mean, yeah, Choir just absolutely destroys. I mean, this is like a GM, and it's just destroying them. But basically, jump down, jump over here to the left, And then we can jump up to the other little like node that we can pick up, and we'll just shoot all the runes from up here. And you can take them all down with just 2 runes, which is extremely nice because you don't have to go to the other side. And since we'll do it in the time frame, we will also get our max ammo. Also, be sure to like kind of tap it a little bit because you don't want to waste all the ammo on one and then not have enough to break another rune. I think we've all done the strike by now. We probably know how to do that, but I just want to point that out because in a GM, if you have to go get the other one, it can be very annoying. I do try to look down and build some Transcendence energy up here, but literally I got hit by a nade, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to back up. I'm not going to worry about that. But moving on to the final boss here. So my whole philosophy here is just obviously I can't melee the boss because the boss is just going to one-shot you. So I try to use all my melees just to clear everything. The moment ads spawn, I just go in, start meleeing everything, kill everything, clear the whole battlefield. That's why this run does take a little longer. If I was playing it a little more, I guess, not safe, it could definitely be done faster. You could probably get it done within like 25, 30 minutes max. But again, I play it super duper safe. I just kind of run around mailing everything. So you'll see all that here. But again, always prioritize these wizards. I always try to constantly group up to proc Syntheseps. Even if you aren't going to kill the enemies with the lightning surge, just running past enemies to proc Syntheseps is so good because that lets you one-shot a lot of the enemies in the game. If not, you can finish them after that. But for DPS, I'm basically just going to be running back and forth this like long strip area, just constantly shooting some linear shots, popping my Needle Storm on them. And again, every single time I see an ad or anything of the sort like that, I am going to just go lightning surge them just to get them out the picture, because I don't want them randomly throwing grenades. I don't want them randomly shooting me. I don't want just anything of the sort, because he can sometimes melee you, get you one shot, and then if you're running away from him, the acolytes can shoot you. But as you see here, we'll pop Needle Storm, just kind of slowly doing damage. It's just running back and forth. I don't have a melee there. I probably would have went for a melee there to get an invisibility proc, but fortunately I did not have one. I do have Transcendence, but I'm trying to save Transcendence for when like a large group of things spawn. It might be here, because I'm starting to see a bunch of wizards and stuff. But I do have a melee, so I try to save the Transcendence when I absolutely need it. As you see, there's a lot of stuff here. So I'll pop it and go for the insta-kill on the wizard here, just to get her out the equation. I do see the boss. Be very wary of the boss, because he will sometimes just sneak up on you. And as soon as you come out of invisibility, you can get shot. Or one shot. So that little purple thing you just saw there was what I'm talking about. Literally that right there, what you just witnessed, will absolutely destroy you if you're doing this solo and just constantly meleeing everything. If I would have went up there and meleeed those group of enemies right there, I guarantee you there's a 99% chance I would have wiped right there, because I don't know how much damage it does, but I mean, it literally seems like it one-shots you. It may be because there's like multiple of them that's causing it, but it does too much damage. Like I'm gonna need that volatile explosion on our character, because it's almost like a volatile ignition. It ain't like a little explosion. It does so much damage. And again, obviously if you're going for a melee, it's just gonna insta kill you. But now we're gonna kind of just run away again, just keep killing ads, constantly just staying invisible, making space around the map. Again, you want the map to be at your will. You don't want to have to like be scared of the map trying to hurt you and all the enemies trying to hurt you. Just try to kill everything, and then you can just run around. It's also worth noting that you can do damage on the strip, but like you can also let me just repeat that whole sentence right there. It's worth noting that you could do damage on the strip, but if he gets close to you, you could just kind of run in and out of these pillars right here just to kind of like slow him down. You don't have to always try to jump over him. If you're trying to jump over him, you can do a lot more damage, but if you're just trying to live, just constantly running in and out of these pillars. But as you did see, they're almost died to that grenade. Thankfully, I have Phoenix Dive. The Phoenix Dive is just like the, oh, I'm about to die button. Let me pop that. Fortunately, I don't have it here, but I do see a Acolyte. When I have one melee charge, I can just melee off the stairs, go invisible, get that Devour proc. You have to be very, very wary of all your ability charges with this, if especially like in a solo. And like that's kind of just what I'm saying. It's just you have to be hyper aware of everything that's going on with everything else I've described. It makes it a little tedious, but obviously you can get the job done. But again, more wizards, more acolytes, pop Transcendence, make sure they're all dead. We almost have the boss down to half health. Finally, we're almost 20 minutes in. And we go for a super here. Thankfully, all the Needle Storms proc do so much damage with that one super right there. So nice. Wish they were all like that, but sometimes they'll randomly just trail off and hit somebody else, or they'll just miss, and then, yeah. But if it's like that, you can do a ton of damage. But again, going for more melees here. Just kind of again, clearing the battlefield out so I don't have to worry about anything. The invisibility is just super nice. I cannot stress enough, if you are trying to play a build like this, definitely get a Spirit of the Assassin. Thankfully, I get a little lucky right there. The boss is kind of stuck, so I can get a couple shots in without having to like stress too much. But we'll get him down here to the halfway point, and then we can start the next fun phase where we have to dunk all the balls. And this is where Spirit of the Assassin is absolutely disgusting. Obviously for solo it's very good, but even if for 3 people, I mean, just having this invisibility to dunk the balls is also still just very good. I mean, there's some strats where hunters just play invisibility for these specific interactions here. You can do it on the Warlock if you have Assassin. So basically, you go for a finisher on these enemies. You have, I think it's like 15 seconds of invisibility. It's a long time of invisibility. But you can pick the ball up. I do have to run away, unfortunately, so I can't show it off completely right there, but I promise you'll see it. But there was an unstoppable ogre, an ogre spawns, and a barrier champion spawns. So you have to worry about those. And also, as you saw there, I do have a Arc Knight that spawns that will chain lightning to me, which is very annoying. I'm going to tell you that this guy right here is what caused me a large amount of time waste. But you'll see all that. But right now, again, trying to play it super safe, just kind of rotating around the map constantly, keep the ads rotating, because I need to kill these champions before I really focus on anything. And also, I need to kill that wizard too, because the wizard's very annoying. I was going to go for it there, but I saw the ogre running up, so I was like, yeah, let me not do that. I'm invisible. I get the unstoppable thing to proc. I, just get a little damage off, throw the nade on him, have to run away because that Arc Knight ran up, and there was really nothing I could do. If I sat there and tried to go for melees or anything, the Arc Knight would have just insta-killed me with that lightning. So, I see the ogre here. I'm going to kind of, go for the stun. Fortunately, I do get a ton of damage taken to me, but I just go for the stun, get out of there, go for some invisibility. Like, my whole process here is constantly manage abilities, constantly manage somebody I can go invisible on, be it a melee or a finisher, because you absolutely have to do that to live in something like a solo GM with this. Again, here is the Lightning Knight or Arc Knight or Shock Knight, whatever you want to call it. And I'm trying to freeze here. I can't really do much. It almost kills me because it does so much damage. But I eventually just get out of there. I'm just going to run away. It's like, yep, not really worrying about that. We're making another lap around. I do see the Barrier Knight. I'm like, maybe I can kill it here. At this point, I'm thinking the Ogre Knight is gone because I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah, spoiler alert, it is not gone. It is definitely still here. But again, just kind of waiting. I do see the Acolyte here. I'm like, oh, yes, I can go for the finisher here, get the invisibility, jump back up, make another rotation around. I really want to go for kill these enemies here, but I just can't, so I have to run away, unfortunately. I'm really just looking for like a good angle to where I can start doing stuff. Unfortunately, there's not that many ads left, so it's really hard to proc synthesubs here. So I'm really just kind of based on doing gun damage. There is some stuff around that I can proc synthesubs on, but like it's a lot of stuff that will just insta kill you, so it's not that good, and you really can't get devour procs off. Oh yeah, by the way, the ogre's back. There it is. But thankfully, it's in a pretty good spot. Get the stun, throw the melee, get the little charge, go for the little 3-shot, go for the finisher here, get some special ammo, get some invisibility, and we're good to go on that regard. We got one champion down. That wizard's still up. That Shock Knight's still up. Obviously, the boss is still up, and they're all in that one area that I have to go. I haven't even started dunking yet. We're still at 0 out of 5. But I promise you, once you get all this stuff down, the dunks are honestly pretty easy to do, especially if you have Spirit. Well, not even especially. If you have to have Spirit of the Assassin to make it as easy as you'll see how easy it is. But kind of run around. Thankfully, I do get some shots on the wizard to almost kill her, get her a little weak. I'm going for a kill here on this knight. I think do I end up killing this one? I don't. No, I run away from this one too. Again, there's just so much stuff shooting me. I think I try to go for some damage on the wizard here because like the wizard is mainly what I'm scared of. The Shock Knight I know I can handle once everything is kind of down. Thankfully, I do kill the wizard here with Choir. Just do it at a range here. But now I'm going to run over, and I think it's like, is it time to finally kill this guy? Unfortunately, it is not, so I run away again. I mean, if I had a stasis turret there or an arc soul, obviously he would have been dead by now. But, we're doing this challenge for you all. And again, I want to emphasize, okay, I actually do go for the kill here, but I'll talk about that in a second. But I go for the finisher, get the ball while I'm invisible. It is, I think it was like 13 seconds or so. you get a very long time of invisibility. So you can just run up, go for the dunk. As you see, I'm still at 5 seconds, and I can just get out of there. And you can do that 5 times. I do go for the super gear to try to kill that wizard. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot, but it did make some space, which is nice, so I can try to insta-kill this barrier knight. There is enemies chasing me now, so I have to get out of there. I do see some enemies below me, which was kind of scary, but low-key was good because it procs this up. It procced invisibility, all that stuff, because I had a lightning surge. Now both champions are dead. That wizard is dead. I think more spawn, but it's not that big of a deal now. The champions are dead. I do go for the kill there. I could have picked it up and go for the invisibility, but the invisibility from the melee is a lot shorter than the invisibility from a finish. So you really want to go for a finish, then go for the dunk, because if you go for the melee invisibility, you might come out and just die. Again, right here, again, I accidentally kill it, but I do try to go for a finisher. I pick the ball up. I see he's finishable, so like, okay, yeah, let me get him, and I can pick the ball back up, and now I have that long time of invisibility. I can go get the next dunk off. I just see the ball slowly would have killed me right there if I didn't have Spirit of the Assassin. But again, like kind of going back to the other thought. Oh, actually, hold on. Shock Knight's back. Let's not go back to the other thought quite yet. Thankfully, I do get a freeze off there. I do see some other wizards spawning, but I'm going to come over here, go for the melee proc synthesize, immediately just jump for the wizard, just insta-kill it, which is very, very good. Now I'm going to try to kill this guy too, because I do have synthesize proc, and I do get a ball there, but I don't have invisibility. So I go for the finisher here on this guy, get the long amount of invisibility, go back for the ball since it still has time left, pick that thing up, and let's go dunk it. Now we're at 3 out of 5. As you see, like it is with its finisher, it is very easy to get the dunks off. You don't really have to worry about anything at all, really. I do see some more wizards coming, so I try to let them group up so I can get synthesize proc. Again, running around, trying to get biotic enhancements. Do get it to proc, insta-kill everything, which is nice because I had 2 lightning surges. Come back over here. Try to go for the freeze on this Wrathborn here to get another thing, and then I should just go for the finish here, which is good. But yeah, again, like I was saying, or what I was trying to say earlier, this is specifically just for solo. If you're doing this with 2 other people, this build is literally going to destroy the GM because it makes it so much easier. The only other thing to really worry about is if your teammates accidentally kill something you're trying to get an invisibility proc off of, but that doesn't happen too often. But if you're a team, this build is disgusting. It just shreds everything. Now, you see I do pop Transcendence here. Going in, I think it's finally time to kill this Shock Knight. I'm like, let's go. Get the synthesis proc. I try to suppress it here with the nade. It is tanky. It has so much health, but as you see, I can't get the finisher on it. Fortunately, I didn't get the finisher on it. And as you see out of the corner of my eye, I did see one of the like nuke ads that spawn. All right, there might have been... No, that was the nuke ad. That was the nuke ad, I'm pretty sure. It wasn't the meteor. The nuke ads honestly aren't that difficult to deal with. You would think since it's like a melee build, maybe it could be, but you literally can one-shot them, so it's not that big of a deal. Go for the finisher here. Again, always try to prioritize going for a finisher. They're picking the ball up. And also, I mean, this applies to like literally any strike activity has an objective. I know I'm just doing this one specifically because it's the one this week. But yeah, I mean, just always try to go invisible with the finisher before doing anything. But again, right there, the nuclear one, you just insta-kill it. It really isn't that big of a deal. They sound a lot scarier than they actually are with this setup. Again, going for a finish here to get that long invisibility, to get out of here. The boss is right there. I didn't have assassin. I just would have died there. Trying to prioritize groups of ads. I see a wizard. I try to throw a cold snap to freeze it. Just kind of running away. As you see, it's very, very hectic right now. There are a lot of ads. Just constantly trying to play my life. Kind of get stuck on some poles. I really thought I was going to die there, but thankfully I got out in time. I don't have a Devour proc here, which is very, very scary. I do have a melee, though, so I try to get the melee off. Almost die there. Thankfully, the Devour proc comes up before the knight melees me or shoots his little bomb at me. So, thankfully, we got out of there pretty safely. Haven't even done damage to the boss yet. Again, I'm just trying to clear the whole room before I even worry about doing that. Like I said, 25 to 30 minutes if you're playing this a little less safe. But, if you're trying to play it super safe to get the clear, it's probably going to take you this long. Or if you would just, playing a different solo build, it will probably also be a lot faster. But we're going to pop Transcendence here. I see a lot of ads. There's still knights up there I'm trying to kill just to get rid of all those. And we're going to just kind of start meleeing everything again. And we try to throw a Transcendence screen right there to do a little bit of damage to the boss. He does get stuck right there a little bit, so we get a good chunk of damage off, which is very, very nice. Unfortunately, he does disappear. If he would have just sat there the whole time, man, that would have been nice. But obviously, he's going to disappear. And I kind of just briefly throw that grenade because my Transcendence was about to run out. But I see the boss coming up. It's coming around the little left side. I'm just trying to do some damage here. I do have my super, but I'm trying to make some space before I use the super. As you see, I do get the space me right there. Unfortunately, some of the super missed, but I got a good chunk of damage off. I hear more ad spawn, I'm pretty sure here. Yep, so I'm going to go for some more lightning surge melees. Just constantly go invisible again. I know I've said this about 73 times this video, but that is shout casting, or I guess commentary, whatever you want to call it. Let me know if I'm good at this or not. Yeah, I know I've repeated myself a good amount, but again, just trying to play it safe. Really just looking for any opportunity that I can do damage on a boss. Unfortunately, the wizard that spawned there is a altered wizard. I promise next time I do one of these, I will learn the exact name of these things. But it is the one that shoots meteors, so it's not that important. Unfortunately, a cursed thrall is there. Didn't know that spawned there. Thankfully, I didn't die to it. But yeah, the wizard needs to die. Again, it shoots the meteors. It's honestly not that big of a deal. I'm more so worried about just the damage the wizard can put out with his normal attack. But I kind of get everything freeze. I see there's a clear shot here. I go for a Transcendence pop. I try to get some unravel spreading, but I go for the melee here. Thankfully, I'll kill it. The boss is right there. I get out just in time, thankfully, before he goes for the melee. Again, they just creep up on you sometimes with this. It's pretty annoying. I would have picked the melee build to go against the melee boss for making this video. Why would I do that to myself? But now I'm just going to run up and down the strip here again, just constantly do some damage. I do have Radiant on my melee, so I can try to get a little Unravel off to get Radiant, or Arcane Needle to proc Unravel to also proc Radiant, do a lot more damage. Again, just playing it super safe, just running back and forth, doing as much as I can. Always try to preemptively jump. Even if you do, you can still get hit, which is super annoying. But thankfully with Phoenix Dive, you can heal pretty much back to full with that cure that it provides. More ads are spawning, so I'm like, yep, all right, well, time to start ad clearing again. I'm going for the lightning surge on the wizards and everything, just to insta kill them, make a lot of space, kill these acolytes, and go for the freeze here again. Again, just to make some more space. Unfortunately, there is another wizard. I tried to go for some hip fire shots on Choir 1 to try to nuke it, but it's not. Did not get that lucky with the spread, honestly. I tried to do it again, and again, still not that lucky. Don't have Devour here, so I'm a little scared. So I have my super. I'm probably gonna have to use my super here to get it. I see some acolyte shooting me. I was like, I'm not risking it. I'm just throwing the super. I can kill the wizard, get the Devour proc. You see, I did get red health there, but thankfully the Needle Storm killed the wizard. I'm using my super just to heal right here. But we're gonna keep running up and down, kind of waiting for the boss. Pretty much all the main threats are dead now, so I'm just kind of waiting to do more boss damage. Boss did spawn here. Try to go for some shots, get a little radiant proc, go for some hip fire with Choir. I do have Transcendence now. Gonna kind of run away because the boss is super close. Again, running through these pillars, you can kind of dodge the boss. He does chase you down now, which you saw he was right behind me, but thankfully with the lightning surge, you can get out there in time. It's also beneficial to use your lightning surge just to get out of situations that even if you aren't going for a kill, you could just straight up just, if someone's shooting at you, you could just, lightning surge out the way. Do some PvP tactics in PvE. Because, you're going to be able to spam them all the time with Transcendence anyway. Thankfully, the wizard spawned right there, right as I was right there, so I just insta-kill it. So that's just one less wizard I have to worry about. I was going to go for a melee there, but I did see the boss come up at the corner of my eye, and I was like, all right, let me not do that, because I would 100% would have died there, because I would have got caught, and he would just one-shot me with melee. So, kind of running away. Like, I want to build some darkness energy up. Maybe I can get another Transcendence. There is a Thrall that you have to melee to get their shield off. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal with this build, though. Going for the large group of ads there. I see the boss come up the staircase. I run over to the right. Boss goes up in the middle. I'm taking a look around. I can do some damage here, but the Thrall is going to come up here in a second. He disappeared, unfortunately, so the Thrall, take its shield out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did some damage to the acolytes there. I don't know if I killed them or not, but... Yep, now we're going to go over here. We're going to do some more boss damage, and I'm like, we can get it here. This is the time to shine. We can definitely kill here. But just to be safe, I'm like, let me take a look around. Let me run around. I'll try to freeze them with the cold snap grenade. Make some space here. The boss is nowhere to be found, which is always a terrifying thing. The boss is right there. Thankfully, I missed the melee. Some ads do spawn right there, which isn't that big of a deal. I do just throw an Arcanino to get a Devour proc, pop Transcendence here, because I see a wizard spawn. Go for the wizard kill. I don't kill it fully, but I do get the finisher off here, which is honestly nice because I get the invisibility. I thought, I was like, I don't want to go for it yet because the boss might be around, but I don't see the boss, so now I'm going to just constantly just go for it, kill all the ads there, which is nice. Pretty much everything is dead now at this point, other than what, there's 3 acolytes. I'm like, okay, it's time. Let me finish it here. It's been going on for way too long. And then he disappears. Hey, you love to see that. the darkness is coming. We've been in here for so long, but we're gonna just run across now. I'm like, okay, now it's time. I pop the super, pretty much almost kill it here, and then we'll kill it here with the melee. And I was so relieved at this point because, man, like, I'm telling you, the amount of times I was running this and I would just die to one of the random like enemies that spawn. And yeah, I guess you could call it a player diff because I should be able to be aware that stuff's spawning. But sometimes when you're going in for that lightning surge, just kill a group of ads, they'll just randomly pop up and you die. So it's not like that much of a skill gap, but it's a whole thing. But anyway, let's take a quick look at the build. As you see, I'm running Tenacious with a chill clip air trigger, acquire 1 with stabilizing, and I just had a random, adaptive burst, strand, linear fusion here. Honestly, any linear will work, but this was my unstop, and obviously just doing boss damage. For artifact perks, require, I was running all of the void artifact perks other than void flux here. I was also running overclock and load, dielectric, flash over, defibrillating blast for my lightning surge, just kind of buffing all that up. Again, piercing and unstop here, and then park reconstruction for the artifact. For the subclass here, again, if you haven't seen my in-depth breakdown of this build, definitely be sure to go check that out. But I have Devour, Feed the Void, Lightning Surge, obviously, Arcanino giving you the 3 things, Cold Snap Grenade for Darkness Energy, Feeding Style for I'm About to Die button, Protection for Damage Resist, Purpose, so I can get Woven Mail with Needle Storm for even more damage resist, Balance, so I can get more melees as much as possible, also Grenade kind of too. Facet of Courage, so I can do more damage with my melee, which is nice. And then Dawn, so whenever I do Lightning Surge, I will get Radiant. The Radiant will let me have bigger capabilities. Acquire 1 sometimes it just messes up and it won't work sometimes. But you do have Barrier with Tenacious here, so it's not that big of a deal. But the Radiant also gets a damage buff, obviously, for your linear fusion, plus the Unravel also is nice to do some extra damage. For the armor mods, I just have a Void Siphon, Stasis Siphon for orbs, Hands On for super energy since we're going for a lot of melee kills, 3 heavy-handed since I go for a ton of melee kills, I can make orbs all the time. The orbs are good for proccing Woven Mail, and even on our boots, we can get recuperation, so we can heal every time we pick an orb up, so we get the damage resist and we get the heal. We get melee energy, and then we also get energy for everything every time I pick an orb up, so making a lot of orbs is nice because you can basically spam your stuff even more and just be able to live more. And speaking of living more, I do run double arc resist and a concussive dampener just to basically just deal with all of the boomer knights. Honestly, that's what was giving me the most trouble in the first boss as well, at the very first beginning of the strike. Also, you can just kind of not have to worry about him too much. And then for the class item, a proximity ward for that overshield, and go for a finisher. Again, with assassin, you're going to go invisible, so you get an overshield, you come out with invisibility, which is nice. Special finishers, since I will always have armor charge because of the 3 orbs, so I can just make special ammo, which is good since I'm running double special. And then powerful attraction, so whenever I use my Phoenix stuff, I can pick up all the orbs around me to, again, proc Woven Mail, proc all the health, all the energy, and everything of the sort. And honestly, that is pretty much the build. I guess as some closing thoughts, again, I want to point out that this is not a video complaining about the altered enemies by any means. I honestly really like them and the kind of the gameplay that it changes up. And typically, obviously Bungie's not designing a Grandmaster to be able to be soloed. It's supposed to be somewhat of a challenge. It's just unfortunate that with the new altered enemies, it seems more of like an RNG challenge than an actual like skill challenge, which you could argue that most GMs and stuff like that are kind of RNG in general. But something like the solo dungeon, they are obviously designing the whole thing to be able to be solo. But with the GM, they are designing it around 3 people because it is a strike. So it's just a little tedious if you are trying to go for it. But overall, I do think the altered enemies are a good change. Because again, it just kind of refreshes the gameplay, makes you think a lot more instead of just let me monotonously just run through this. You actually have to kind of be wary of some things. And when you go for a solo with the melee build, it can be pretty annoying. But I have ran this build in GMs with 3 people, and it is a ton of fun. It's definitely one I would recommend you all try out. But if you are going for a solo, I would honestly maybe try to just go for like a stasis turret build, and you basically have another teammate with that. But again, it's up to you. If you want the challenge, definitely go for the melee. It obviously can be done, but if you want a little less stress, I would probably run something else for the solo, but if you're going with 3 people, for sure give this build a shot. It is so much fun. Anyway, though, that's all for me. If you made it this far, be sure to comment bones in the comment section below. Again, I'm not I think that's what they're called, but I'm not 100% sure on the enemy type. It could be pretty funny. I really appreciate all the support that you all have been showing. I cannot wait for Act 2 to come around and all the builds that's gonna bring up. Definitely be sure to stick around if you want to see all those. But again, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.